So today I am going to introduce the topic from self-abandonment to self-love. So what is self-abandonment? Self-abandonment is where we stop believing in ourselves, where we are unable to trust our instincts, when we are unable to see value in ourselves. What we end up doing is looking for other people to define our value and other people to tell us what to do. So let me introduce Deborah Joy and ask her to tell you who she is and then to also tell us a little bit about her journey.
My name is Deborah Joy Juma. I am an author. I'm an inspirational speaker. My journey has been one of abandonment, one of rejection and pain. I grew up with parents who really never cared about me. My dad was very harsh and he used to beat me a lot, near death point. And then my mom was verbally abusive. At some point, my dad deserted the family when I was joining Form 1. For the last 13 years, I haven't seen him.
Very painful beginning, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and then over time, you have written a book.
I decided to write to give meaning to my life because I wanted really to understand why children go through childhood trauma, and I wanted to let it out to people to know that it is not okay for you to treat children in a certain manner. It's also not okay for fathers and mothers to hit each other before their children and to hurt their children and to abandon them when they're growing up.
Right. Now, what has been the impact of the book?
So far, I have received very good reviews. People say it's impactful to their lives and they are learning a lot about childhood trauma, about abandoning your children and how it affects them, and they are also learning about how to take care of themselves.
It looks like your story in your book has resonated with so many people.
Yes, it has. There's something about personal stories. The people can connect. It's more than fiction, you know. When you come up with your own story where people have seen you live it and grow through it and they have seen you walk through it, then they can resonate with it easily.
Yeah. Now, when people look at you, Deborah, they would never think that you have gone through anything horrendous.
Because it's not shown. It cannot be written anywhere on my face.
Yes.
But the aftermath of it comes through the effects that sometimes I experience.
Yeah. There is one thing you didn't tell the viewers. You did not tell them that you are a high school teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I teach Swahili and religious studies. And I think also when we're talking about this abandonment issue, it has even affected the way I deal with my learners. It's not just the chalk and exam. It's more than that. It's relationship. It's God connection. It's working with learners and being friends with them and creating a rapport with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell the viewer just a little bit of how did you survive? Because then that means you went through primary school, high school, and then you did your degree. How did you survive?
When I was in high school, I used to sell sweet potatoes. I would walk with sweet potatoes from house to house and then sell. And then when I joined campus, I worked as a house help and also on people's farms just to ensure that I get my upkeep. And then I used help loan to pay my fees. So I would pay fees, and then after that, now I start hustling how I'll survive through the 3 months of the semester.
How did you now realize that your childhood was impacting you when you look back?
There are so many things that have been happening, codependent relationships and also people pleasing. Sometimes I want to say no, but I just find myself saying yes so that I don't hurt someone. And then sometimes I overdo things for people. I find myself, if I'm supposed to buy something for myself, I even neglect myself and I buy for someone else. And thinking when they get it, they will be so happy and they will love me more and they will accept me more. I have issues with trust. When I look at someone, sometimes before we get to click, it takes a while for me to trust them and for me to know that this person is a safe person and I can walk our journey with them.
What are your psychological and emotional struggles that are connected now to childhood trauma?
I still struggle with people pleasing sometimes. Still struggle also with saying no sometimes. When I wrote the book When Life Hurts, it somehow taught me that I'm not supposed to overdo things. I'm not supposed to work so hard to make somebody happy or to make somebody accept me. I am who I am, and I'm finding myself as I grew. I'm defining myself that nowadays I don't like a group of people, and that is who I was before. I was everywhere. I was hanging here and there and trying out relationships with people and friendships with people, and some became abusive in the process. So now I'm learning that I don't have to have a lot of friends, that if only one person is clapping for you, you don't need the whole world to clap for you. Yeah,
absolutely. So what is happening as you are going through your process is that you are beginning to define yourself by yourself, not necessarily seeking other people to define who you are. I wanted to ask these questions of Deborah so that you understand self-abandonment means that reacting to trauma, issues of neglect, abuse, and what was said to me. And I have become a person who is not trusting of myself. When we are self-abandoning, we have perfectionism. Things have to be right. They have to be in a certain way. And if things go a little bit off, we cannot survive. We become very agitated, angry, sad, depending on your personality. By the way, working with Deborah, we realized that Deborah is a choleric melancholic, which means cholerics are not people who follow. But you see, because of trauma, your real self was suppressed, and now you are surviving through doing what you think other people will be accepting of. Number two, self-criticism and judgment. You find yourself constantly criticizing yourself. If something happens, it is not your fault, but you own it, that it is your fault. The other one is not honoring your needs. So when you go into where you have to choose between taking care of yourself and taking care of someone else, you are going to choose someone else. And also, what happens when you are really out of balance? You will struggle with anxiety, which is the fear of the unknown, the fear of losing control, and the deep feelings of loss and self-hatred. And so what is going to happen, instead of taking care of yourself, you just give yourself into all these emotions. And so you struggle with what we call self-regulation. Where did that come from? Because when you were growing up, you were not allowed to speak up. You were not allowed to express. And if you did, you were beaten up. And so it is important for us, as we are listening to Deborah's story, that you connect, you identify with her story, and figure out where you are, because it can actually help you understand why you are so unhappy in your own life, why you feel you are so out of control. Deborah, I want you to just tell us, what is the struggle now with self-acceptance and self-love?
Viewing myself as not good enough sometimes. Thinking I would be better in a certain space. I sometimes overwork on myself. I don't want something to go wrong with me. I want things to go in a straight way, you know. And if something messes up with what I have planned and what I'm thinking about, I feel like I'm drowning.
We will continue with this series, and I believe that it is going to give you a lot of value.